We're almost at the release of the Prophecies Begin graphic novel adaptation, Volume 1, which comes out July 16. So I'll go over everything we know about it so far, including the officially revealed art. This graphic novel was first announced back in September. It's created by Sarah Getter and Natalie Reese, and unlike previous graphic novels, where the writer, Dan Jolly, was separate from the artists, these guys actually adapted the text too, with the input of Aaron Hunter, which I assume means the story team. I love how they depicted Aaron as the moonstone in this behind-the-scenes art. According to the behind-the-scenes comic, Natalie does the initial sketches in color, while Sarah does the inking. The Edelweiss listing mentioned that it'll cover the events of the first 2 books, though in an interview on WarriorCats.com, they clarified that it's more like the first book and half of the second, since there were storylines they wanted to give more breathing room to. This first volume comes out in both hardcover and paperback on July 16th. As I mentioned in my previous video, participating Barnes & Noble locations are holding a release event during the weekend of the 19th to the 21st, with some of the Texas locations doing a signing with Sarah and Natalie. Since posting my video about that, the Aaron Hunter Books Instagram posted a list of participating locations, which I'll link in the description, but you'll still want to call your local store to be sure. I've heard reports of the list having some inaccuracies, with some stores who aren't on the list still holding the event, and vice versa. Anyway, before we get to the art from the first volume, they've mentioned that Volume 2 has already been drawn, and while we don't know the release date yet, the cover at least has been revealed. And then for the rest of the video, I'll go through all the art that has officially been revealed. The first, and most significant, is from the catalog on Edelweiss, which listed 4 teaser pages and then included a sample PDF. This sample covers the first 42 pages of the graphic novel, which covers from the prologue of Into the Wild up to Firepaw's first night in ThunderClan. Amazon's Read Inside gives us some of the final pages of the book. There's behind-the-scenes information on how they created it and designed Firepaw, and some alternate sketches of the cover. Personally, I like the final 3. The top 2 just don't feel right to me, and the one with the leaves reminds me too much of the 2015 cover, and also I'm not big on the half-face thing like they did on the final cover. It also shows the rear cover of the book, which brings back the tagline from the old UK covers, 4 clans, 1 destiny. I love that we're seeing that again after all these years. One of the official Instagram posts revealed that the hardcover will have art under the dust jacket, much like the super editions, this one depicting Spotted Leaf. The remaining images come from the official Instagram posts, the official website's articles and activity sheets, and the official book trailer. There's a Meet the Cats article that contains images of various characters. And since a few cats don't appear in the Edelweiss sample, this was our first look at Yellowfang, Cinderpaw, Broken Star, and Silverstream, whose design spawned a buff Silverstream meme. And here's some more character images. One of Firepaw, Barley and Ravenpaw, Broken Star, and Yellowfang. And the rest in roughly chronological order as to where they take place in the book. This one, I think, is the first time they meet Sandpaw and she insults Firepaw, and Greypaw says she's usually not that bad-tempered. This one shows a montage representing the 2-moon time skip that takes place in Into the Wild after he starts his training. I think it's cool how they included the moon phases on the page. And this is after Firepaw finds Yellowfang. She's taken prisoner, and he's assigned to care for her. This is probably one such scene. The sound effects there are probably her ravenously eating, I think. We've got Firepaw's hunting assessment, though they're using Princess rather than Smudge. And that night they get to go to the gathering, so since there's a bunch of ThunderClan cats here and a full moon, this scene's probably from when they're almost there. We have several scenes here from the gathering itself, including Greypaw talking about Broken Star. And this looks like when Lionheart was talking to the apprentices about the mythological clans, such as Lion Clan. Firepaw and Greypaw overhear Ravenpaw telling the other apprentices at the gathering about the battle with River Clan where Redtail died. This is another gathering scene. Maybe Mistyfoot and Stonefur on the left there, and One Eye. Broken Star starts his speech, and here's some Shadow Clan cats, including Blackfoot during that, and the clans protest. Crooked Star admits that he's already given in to Shadow Clan. Broken Star warns the clans about a Shadow Clan cat who went rogue, and ThunderClan realizes he must mean Yellowfang. Firepaw runs ahead to warn her. Blue Star calls a clan meeting after that. Firepaw has a dream, the one which predicts Lionheart's death. Blue Star brings the apprentices and Tigerclaw on the patrol to see the Moonstone. They cross the Thunder Path and realize there are no Wind Clan scents on Wind Clan's territory. Here's the Moonstone itself. And they go by Barley's farm, and on the way back home they get attacked by rats. I'm guessing this image is from Afterbird, when they arrive back to Shadow Clan attacking their camp. The scene shows Blue Star's training session with Firepaw. Later, after the ThunderClan kits get stolen, Blue Star tells Firepaw to find Yellowfang. He brings Ravenpaw and Greypaw along, and that's when they tell Ravenpaw to go live with Barley. And this shows White Storm and maybe Mousefur with Firepaw, so this is probably when they rescue the kits from Shadow Clan. These appear to be the stolen kits, but while Cinder Kit is pretty clear, and I'm sure one of them is Bracken Kit or Thorn Kit, they don't match the descriptions of both Bracken and Thorn, as well as Bright Kit. Maybe they changed one of them to be Swift Kit, or maybe it's just more visually interesting to give them all different appearances. Moving on to the events of Fire and Ice, here's a glimpse of Wind Clan in the tunnels they're sheltering in, running, and back home on the moor. And then here's some I'm not sure about. This appears to be Firepaw with several other cats rushing to battle, though Tigerclaw is with them, so it's not the Broken Star battle at the end of Into the Wild. And then I'm guessing this one is one of Fireheart's dreams, maybe the one where he sees Wind Clan. Anyway, that's everything official that they've posted. I'm really liking what we're seeing so far. The character designs are pretty good. I especially like the sparkly star effects, and there's some great facial expressions. For a long time, I've wanted a direct adaptation of the books themselves, so I'm thrilled that they finally decided to do it, and so far, this looks like a worthy adaptation.